It's that time of the year. It is Valentine's Day. Perfect time to talk about love, specifically dating. So as you can see, I'm ready for it. So let's get started with the video.
Do you wanna dance?
Hello, Rwandaful peoples. First of all, I would like to thank all 6,000 of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Theo. I'm Rwandese. I make Rwandan and fitness related videos on this YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed yet, I would appreciate if you would subscribe and click on the bell notification. Thank you very much. Murakaza neza. So, let us talk about dating, specifically dating a Rwandese. I've realized that not many people know about Rwanda, and they know even less about the Rwandese people. A person from Rwanda is called a Rwandan or Rwandese. Both terminologies are correct, and I use them both here. If you have met and or fallen for a Rwandese person, and you are considering dating them more seriously, well, you're in luck, because this video is specially for you. Here are 7 things you should know about dating a Rwandese. Disclaimer. Things mentioned in this video are based on my own personal experience pertaining to a typical Rwandese person. I'm not a dating expert, but I hope by sharing my own personal opinion and knowledge it would help someone out there. Alright, let's get started with number 1. The Rwandese shyness / passive attitude. One of the first impressions that people get when they interact or meet a Rwandese person socially is their shyness or their passive or non-assertive attitude. This is true. Rwandans like to act passive or shy-ish at first. This is also something that is engraved in our Rwandan culture. You see, traditionally, Rwandan women in home settings are kind of expected to behave kind of submissively to the males. And men and women are supposed to give respect to the senior person in the room, usually in official settings. So until you have established your place in the hierarchy of the people you are with, most Rwandans default to a passive attitude because you don't want to be stepping on toes of someone who is above you or not follow traditional rules. This is usually seen as rude or unmannered. Nowadays, these old traditional views are barely practiced in real life, but they still exist in the minds of many Rwandan people, and it influences certain behaviors. For example, when you're dating a Rwandese woman, this translates to that most women will wait for a man to take action, i.e., be a man, or at least take the first step. Even if she's madly in love with you, stalks your social media like 100 times a day, and wants your babies ASAP, she will still act normal or shy-ish around you, and she will definitely not take the first step in revealing her feelings towards you. And for the typical Rwandan guy, he knows or he feels that he's supposed to be the man of the relationship. Being the man of the relationship usually means that you are able to protect her, or you have some kind of finance going on. So when a Rwandan guy meets a nice and attractive woman with whom he might consider having a serious relationship, he will usually ask himself these 3 questions. Can I protect her? Can I afford her? And is this my best option right now? So while the Rwandan guy is doing his research, he might interact with you and all his other potential candidates in a casual or passive way, to the dismay of most women who want certainty. Also, the communication can fluctuate from late night deep texting and calling followed by a radio silence of 2 weeks. Rwandans in general, like most Africans, are quite relaxed and laid back, and they don't like to rush social interactions. It takes time for them to really open up, and they like to take their time. Point number 2, traditional mindset. Rwandans have a very traditional mindset. The old traditional roles of males being the providers and the women the caregivers are on the way out in most Western societies. But in Rwanda it is still very much alive, especially in the rural areas. For example, in Rwanda, if a Rwandan male meets a woman with a higher social status, i.e. money, he will voluntarily get out of his way not to fall in love with her, because most of the time they feel like they have nothing to offer them. So he will not put himself in a position where he might fall for her. However, for Rwandans living outside of Rwanda, the differences in social status, i.e. money, is not as important as it is in Rwanda. But these diaspora Rwandans still love the good part of the traditional roles. If you provide for a Rwandan woman the old-fashioned way, or you take care of a man like he's your husband in 1975, you will see certain joys in his eyes or her eyes that you've never seen before. Guaranteed. Point number 3, no PDA, no display of public affection. When you are dating a Rwandan, do not be surprised if he treats you like your brothers and sisters in front of other Rwandans. This is a bit strange though, because Rwandans in general are quite touchy-touchy in my opinion. Rwandans greet with two hands. They hold your hand while touching your elbow, your back, your shoulder or other shoulder. They kiss people they just met, and they like to hold hands while talking for like an hour in the streets. However, when it comes to their private partner, they do not display any public affection. Why is that? I don't know. I'm certainly guilty of that at first. And this trait is usually passed on from generation to generation, because if you don't learn this at home, you probably won't learn it elsewhere. And for Rwandans living abroad, most of them have kind of adapted to the new situations, but you will still be surprised that when you enter a room of Rwandans, you will not be able to figure out which people are couples because the way they interact with each other. Point number 4. No boyfriend or girlfriend in Kinyarwanda. The words boyfriend or girlfriend do not exist in the Rwandan language. So when your Rwandan boyfriend or girlfriend has to introduce you to their families, things can get pretty funny or awkward. Of course, boyfriends and girlfriends exist in the Rwandan culture, but because there's no word for it, Rwandans like to borrow or use other words that kind of mean the same thing, like sheri, mukunzi wanje, honey, bubu. But none of these words really encapsulate the meaning of boyfriend or girlfriend like in the Western societies. Point number 5. There are many unwritten male and female roles in the Rwandan culture. They usually come up when you start meeting your Rwandan in-laws and their relatives. For example, at family meetings, the girl is usually expected to help the female members of the house with whatever they are doing at that moment, or at least offer to help. Usually it won't be necessary, or they might just ask you to help bring in the food from the kitchen or something like that. If you do this as a non-Rwandan girl, you will be rewarded with positive credits from the Rwandan family. If you do this as a Rwandan girl, it is considered as normal. Of the Rwandan guy is usually expected to be the spokesperson or the leader of the couple. So when you have something to say as a couple, like introduce yourself or make announcements about marriage, giving birth, or maybe like deciding when you're supposed to leave, it is usually the guy who stands up and speaks as gufata ijambo. There are many more unwritten rules and roles of females and males in the Rwandan culture. Make sure to discuss with your Rwandan partner what his or her family finds important before you meet them. Even though your partner might be modern and does not care about these roles, his or her family might care very much. Point number 6. Parents play an important role, especially if you want to get serious. Let me explain. Mostly, the girl's parents play a significant role. Back in the days, if you liked a Rwandan woman, in order for her to know that, you had to go through her parents. And not even you specifically, someone of your family had to go tell their family to tell her parents that there's a guy who likes their daughter. Usually this is when the traditional role plays begin, whereby the guy's family try to convince the girl's family that this guy is the perfect guy for their daughter through multiple visits, gifts, and drink outs basically, because you hang around each other and drink while discussing all this kind of stuff. And ultimately it is the parents who then made the decision. But nowadays, boy meets girl, they talk, they party, they have a complicated relationship on Snapchat and Facebook before announcing anything to the family. And when they do, it is usually a formality whereby the girl and the guy have already made their decision. But the girl's family might still want to enact a part of the traditional role plays. It is important to research how much this matters to them if you don't want any future dramas. And point number 7, guys must pay dowry in order to get married to a Rwandese. Guys, be aware, in order to have a Rwandese as your partner for life, you must pay a certain dowry. The traditional dowry is a cow or multiple cows. But nowadays it has evolved to car, house, or most common, money. I know some of you might think this is quite old school, it doesn't happen nowadays, but like I said in the previous points, Rwandans have a very traditional mindset and the parents play a key role. And if you marry a Rwandan, you are marrying the whole family. And the dowry is actually for the family. So make sure that you are prepared for this. And for the non-Rwandan girls out there, if a Rwandan guy wants to marry you, don't hesitate to ask for your dowry. And the last bonus point from me to you, I would say, in my opinion, the secret to a Rwandese heart is through her community. Make sure that you learn the language, learn the dance, and befriend her siblings. After that, you'll be surprised how smooth everything will go around your relationship. Thank you very much for watching. Before you go, I have two small announcements. Starting next month, I'm going to start a blog where I'll be writing certain things down as a complement to these YouTube videos. For those people who don't have enough internet on their phones or at home, you can now read all about it. And as last, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I appreciate you all, and I would like to see you all in the next video. Oh yeah, and also check out this video. I'll see you later. Ramuki.